This is the apartment where Gary stays. On the 23rd floor, on top of Chicago. Yan, nakatingin na si Gary sa labas. Now, I am going to the window. Naku, sira ang may plansahan dito. Sira ang view. Ngayon, I'm taking a look at the view of Chicago at night. You can see the lights all over the place. Okay, that's the light. Okay, that's LaSalle Street, a busy street. Okay, and then that's Gary watching and Mommy, look at that there, looking at the window. Hala hala la. Say hello, kiddos, to the TV. Pang YouTube ito. Na ito yan, yung yung nila. Kukunin ko bukas ng yan, yung maliwanag. Okay, bye-bye. This is Gary's apartment in downtown Chicago. Okay. Yun ang kitchen niya. Kitchen area. Ref. Sink. That's the pantry. Microwave oven. Okay. Magulo pa. Kaya we're having breakfast now. As you can see, Gary is in the relaxed state. I'm not putting Mommy there. What are we eating? As usual, yung kagabi, hot dog, bread. Now, we're moving. This is the living room. Yan. Okay. Living room yan. Oops! May plansahan. Nasirang view. Okay. And then there's TV, of course, and of course a window. Now I'm going to the window. Yan. This is the scene that you see from Gary's window. That's in LaSalle Street, a major downtown street of Chicago. Wow, we are on the 23rd floor. Yun. Wow, mataas. Okay, so you see now the downtown area of Chicago. There, you see. Oh, tall buildings. Wow, 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 wow. Wow. We are on the third floor. You know, we are in the third floor now. Okay, looking at it again, going inside in Gary's apartment. There's Gary and Mommy on the back. Okay, see. Okay. Okay, okay. This is the river boat cruise in Chicago. That's the boat we're gonna take a ride in. People are lining up. Say hello, Gary, to the camera. That's Mom. We're now on the Chicago boat. I don't know what building that is. I don't know. They're building that building. I don't know what that is also. Ayun, okay. Yan, Gothic yan. That's a Gothic building. That's Gary. That's Mommy. Naku, yung baterya ko. Problema na.
Not because it's Bozar's, but because that is a London insurance company, or it was at the time that the building was built. And so they were paying homage to the city of London by having griffins etched into the building here. On the left is another very white, very tall building, looks like a water cannon kind of shooting out of it. Sometimes known as 75 East Wacker, it's addressed, or the Mather Tower, sometimes it's called. It was designed by Riddle and Riddle in 1926, and it's clad in what's called terracotta. Terracotta is basically pottery. It's mud and some other things that have been baked in a mold for 2 weeks. The nice thing about terracotta is that once you have this mold, you can keep repeating that mold. So it's a very nice way to get a uniform decorative look to your building. And also, because Chicago had a big fire here in 1871, we have this great fear fire, or terracotta is a nice way to fire retard a building. It's a very cheap, nice way because it's been burned for 2 weeks. It's very fire resistant. Again, you see the verticality of this building, very common in the 1920s, is verticality. I'll talk about that in a little bit. But then compared that to the building next door, Hotel 71, always bring the light colors forward in an Art Deco building. You always push the dark colors back. And in general, they will sort of look like armchairs, at least in Chicago. You said this building almost looks like a throne, or like you could sit down in it. Well, that came out of an ordinance that was passed in the 1920s that said if buildings got to be so high, you had to set them back from the street. You couldn't build these big rectangular blocks that went all the way out to the lot line because the city was afraid about not being able to get light and air down into the street. So you really had to start to set the building back, and that's why buildings from the 20s will generally look like this. They have a similar ordinance in New York. However, in Chicago, we tend to build armchairs. In New York, they build wedding cakes. You'll see a wedding cake set that building in a little bit. You'll see what I mean. On the left again, another gigantic building. This one called the Builders Building. It was designed by Graham Anderson Pilkington White, at least originally in 1927, and then an addition by Skidmore, Owings & Merrill came along in the 1970s, literally 50 years later. The original piece is this piece with the flat windows here, the big block square piece, and then the addition happened in the 1970s with this black bay window, these windows that jut out from the facade of the building. And Skidmore added that what we call mansard roof at the top, or half pyramid roof, or sometimes called a French roof at the top, to make the building read as one, even with the building of the addition. You see that quite a bit in Chicago, and especially on the river. Drive makes the same curve, and the river makes this curve, and so they're following along with the curve of the river and bending the building to fit into the lot that it sits on. This building actually sits on a pie-shaped lot, so if you can picture a wedge of pie that kind of has a point on one end and a curve on the other end, the building is actually pointed at a 90-degree angle at the other end. So again, they have to fit into this very strange-looking lot. The blue building just to its right on your left is the 190 North LaSalle building. Also, sort of blue, it's a very clean line building, and it projects imagery born with sort of the government legitimizing this area as an area worthy of protection. So the law was down there, but your party here. So you live down there and your party right here at Wolf Point, basically. Over on the left, you see a very narrow building. I'm going to shift you over again. And this is by Jim DeStefano. It's called River Bend. It was designed in 2002. Jim DeStefano, also a contextualist and a postmodernist. He used to work for the firm Skidmore, Owings & Merrill. He left for various reasons, formed his own firm. At the base of this building is actually condominium, or townhouses, I'm sorry, where these guys are walking into. And then above that is frosted glass. That frosted glass is parking, and then above that is condominiums. So it's kind of a three-tiered building, so to speak. There's also this beautiful river walk here. I'll talk about why that is in a minute. Jim DeStefano had an extremely narrow lot to work with, so all of the units face east. They all face the river. There are no units on the other side of the building, so to speak. So there's a big long corridor along the west side of the